Nowadays, if you ask someone, how do you buy hype sneakers? Sometimes they're gonna tell you it's impossible to buy sneakers without a bot. And that's simply not true. In fact, some botters will tell you it's better to go manual than trying to bot sneakers. In this video, we're gonna discuss some reasons as to why, and in the end, I'm gonna give you some tips on how to cop manual without the use of any bots. So why might botting be a bad decision for you? The main reason is because of the resources that you have to put into it. When I say resources, I'm always referring to time and money. These two are very, very important and factors that you should consider if buying hype sneakers is something that you're interested in. So when you first buy a bot, you have to spend hours and hours learning how to use it and then finding the ins and outs of the bots, being that you are competing with some people who have been doing this for years. Not only do you have to learn how to use it, but the money investment is extremely high. Operating costs to run a bot, not even including the cost of the bot to begin with, is around like $200 to $300 a month. It really depends on what you're going for, but $200 to $300 a month is a pretty moderate operating cost for a botting setup. Now, the operating cost can actually vary very widely. Some people manage to get that number lower. On the extreme end of the spectrum, Jake from AYCD recently said that he spends $15,000 on ISP proxies alone. Those are just proxies, that's not including server costs, bot costs, renewal fees, things like that. $15,000 a month. Like, that's absolutely mind-blowing. And then the bots themselves can cost thousands of dollars. CyberSoul right now is selling for around $7,000 to $8,000, and that's obviously not a small amount of money. Of course, you can rent out bots, which is a pretty good option as well. And that's usually what I recommend to people who want to at least give it a try without having to spend $8,000. So you've spent a lot of money and you've spent a lot of time trying to figure out how all these bots work and stuff like that. And then when it comes to drop time, there is a very high likelihood that you're not even going to be successful within your first few drops. This learning period can take anywhere from a few weeks to a few months. And if you take all of those costs together and you don't hit a single hype sneaker for a few months, then you're basically losing all of that money. Just hundreds of dollars basically down the drain. And of course, a lot of time goes into it. So if you just quit botting at that point in time, you've essentially wasted a bunch of time to learn how to use all these bots, to learn different techniques and different terminologies and things like that. That time would be wasted if you just give up at that point. However, if you're dedicated, you are persistent, and you really try to get it together, then there is also a good chance that you end up having a lucrative business, or you end up getting a bunch of personals that you want for retail price. But even then, it's not guaranteed. Now, on the other hand, let's take a look at what manual users would essentially have to go through. I would say maybe very minimal time commitments. I would say around 20 to 30 minutes going for releases at most. And if they take an L, that's it. They move on. They don't lose any money. And this is why, for people that ask me, oh, I just kind of want to get personals, I'm not really interested in reselling, what bot should I get? I usually just tell them, don't even bother buying a bot, just pay resale price, and it is much, much cheaper and time efficient. All it really takes is you go on StockX, go Flight Club, you buy it, wait for it to come in the mail, that's it. It's really just as simple as that. You don't have to spend tons of time trying to really figure out how to cop everything and tons of money buying all these bots, proxies, groups, and everything. All you're really doing is just paying resale price, and then after that, it coming to your door. Another important factor is the risks you avoid taking. As I mentioned, if you're new to botting and you spend thousands of dollars, there's still a good chance that you don't even get anything until you really start to get proficient and knowledgeable with how everything works. And with anti-bot changing quite frequently, having to relearn methods and adapting to changes can extend the already complicated learning process. So this is especially important for casual sneakerheads who just want the occasional release, who isn't trying to basically hit every single sneaker. Now, if you are more of like a hardcore sneakerhead and you basically want to get every single hype release, then botting might be a good option for you. Essentially what the idea is, you try to go for as many profitable releases as possible. If you hit your size, then maybe you'd want to keep it as a personal, or you take those profits from selling all these hype sneakers so that you can cover the costs of your bots and proxies and stuff, and then after that any leftover money you can use towards buying your personal pairs. However, if you do not have any bots whatsoever, any pairs that you get and you get money off of that is just pure profit. You're not really trying to cover any costs at all, unless you do decide to use proxies with your manual methods, or you do want to pay for a cook group, then that is a cost that you want to cover. But other than that, it's not really that much of a commitment to just go for sneaker releases without a bot. With all that being said, here are some tips on how you can cop without a bot. Note that these tips can be further enhanced if you are part of a cook group, and these are just kind of basic tips. There are enhanced versions of these methods that I think, in my opinion, are just better left unsaid, and I'll just leave it to the cook groups for them to teach you. So I'm going to be going over manual methods for 5 different platforms. So first, let's start with Shopify. Sometimes when it comes to extremely important collaborations, such as the Union Jordan 4 collab, Shopify is actually really good at stopping bots. And here is where manual methods have the best chance of copying. Before we get started, make sure that your autofill settings are updated and working. So let's say Concepts is dropping a hype Nike collab. What these retailers would sometimes do is redirect you to a totally new website that has really strong Shopify bot protection. Getting to this new website as fast as possible would be the key to copying. So before the drop, make sure to follow and turn on post notifications for their Instagram and Twitter account, and wait on their main website until drop time. So let's say the drop is at 10 a.m. EST. So you would have your phone on your desk so that it alerts you when they make a new post on either of their social media accounts, and then exactly at 10 o'clock refresh their main website. You do this because at drop time, the product page link will most likely be published on any of these 3 places. And you need to be ready to get to this link as fast as possible so you have everything open and ready. Do not refresh their website too fast, or else your IP address will get throttled and you won't be able to get past the queue if it comes time to checking out. This release procedure is not something that happens too often, but when it does, you will know what to do. Most sneaker releases on Shopify will most likely be impossible to cop manual, but if they release in this manner and stock numbers aren't too low, then you actually have a really good shot at hitting this way. If you have a cook group, you want to have the same setup, except you'd want to have the following Discord channels open all at once. You want the release channel open, member important, and maybe even the monitor. This will obviously vary from group to group, but the idea is for any channel where fellow members or the staff team posts the link, you want to have that channel open so that you can get quick, easy access to it. Now for regular Shopify releases where they don't use this method, but stock numbers are high, it is possible to cop manual as well, but you do have to know how to skip the queue. Since most Shopify bots do this automatically, if you don't know how to skip the queue, then you won't stand a chance for these regular Shopify releases. As I mentioned, some things are better left unsaid, so for this method, please consult with your cook group. Moving on to the Nike Sneakers app. So basically, when you enter on the Nike Sneakers app, it says you're in line, but you're not actually in line. You're actually a name in the hat where they pick out winners. So this is actually a raffle. The goal here is to not get your entries filtered out. So let's start with the basics. Go ahead and pre-fill in your address and payment information on all of your devices. Keep in mind that each device needs a different account. Make sure that they're all using unique payment methods, so different credit card numbers, different PayPals, etc. If you're based in the USA, you can check out the video linked in the description on how to get multiple credit card numbers with a single bank account. Also, you want to have different addresses in these accounts as well. Ask your friends, family members, etc. to see if you can have shoes shipped out to them. Obviously, you want to have as many devices as possible on as many networks as possible. So what I mean by as many networks as possible is you don't want to use your home internet for all of your entries. If you have phones, make sure you're using LTE on all of your phones. However, if you connect all of your devices to your Wi-Fi, then they would enter under the same IP address and your entry might get filtered out. When it's drop time, go ahead and try to buy it on all of your accounts. As I said, the goal is to not get filtered out, so that your entry at least counts. All there's left to do is hope that you get a W. There is a way to do all of this with a single device. All you need is a computer, some proxies, and buy some Nike accounts. But the step-by-step instructions on how to do this exactly is a job that I'll leave to your cook group. Now, Adidas raffles. This one is pretty simple and somewhat similar to the Nike sneakers method. Download the Adidas Confirmed app on as many devices as possible, make sure that you're using phone data, and when the raffles open up, go ahead and enter all of them. I know this is kind of a no-brainer, and I myself personally don't enter raffles too often, and I really haven't been even entering Adidas raffles, but after I copped foam runners with this, I'm definitely going to start doing this a lot more often. Moving on to Yeezy Supply. You want to use multiple Chrome people. To do this, go to Google Chrome, click on this little circle over here, press add, and assign whatever name and picture that you want. Then press add. As you can see, I now have two separate Chrome instances that are independent of each other. You want to make a few of these, and when Yeezy Supply splash page goes live, these two Chrome instances will act as two different computers in the queue. I've heard that you can go up to 8 different instances, but then any more than that and you might risk getting banned. In addition to this, you can also have your mobile devices on LTE as well, sitting on the Yeezy Supply splash page, and then just hope that one of these will get through during drop time. For the enhanced version, you can actually have as many number of Chrome people open if you want with the use of proxies, but then again, I will leave that to your cook group. Anyways, I hope you learned something new, and if you did, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and I wish everybody the best of luck in getting the shoes that you want for retail.